Hello, my name is Kristen, and I am obsessed with all things play-based and child-led learning. Truly obsessed. I am here to help you navigate the messy and the magical on your journey to a play-based program. It is truly magical on the other side, and I want you to feel each day what I feel when I walk into my classroom. I am the homeschool mama to 4. I'm the founder of a play and nature-based preschool and forest school, and I am here to cheer you on. I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's get going. Welcome to the Play-Based Learning Podcast. I have with me today my BFF from Washington State, Tiffany Pearsall.
That's me. What up?
Yeah. This is how Tiffany and I actually met, was podcasting. We had a podcast for 3 years called Q&A with T&K, and you can actually still find the archives on myplayvolution HQ, I think, .com.
Like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or explorationsearlylearning.com, and you can just search for Q&A with T&K, and there's like 130 episodes.
Yeah.
Of goodness.
Quality content. Yeah.
So good.
So many good questions answered.
Yeah.
And
so
we didn't know each other at all when we started.
No, we didn't. So maybe don't listen to the first 4.
Yeah.
I bet I want to go back and listen to the first one, because I bet we were so nervous.
We had no idea what we were doing. And this was before you could easily record a Zoom audio.
Yeah.
So we had to figure out how to Skype and get it to do the thing and put it through the board. And
oh my gosh.
It felt so hard. And now it's just record.
Right?
Because everybody does this because pandemic. It's everything had to catch up.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, Tiffany runs a school called Play Frontier. The website is playfrontier.org. Normally I have everybody say their own things, but I know all yours by heart. I'm just talking for you.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, tell us a little bit about your school, and tell us why you're slightly breathless right now.
Oh, I'm slightly breathless because I'm about to have a baby in T-9 days if it comes on the due date.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baby in there right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of legs. Are we sure that it's not actually a spider? I think I'm going to give birth to a spider.
Oh my gosh.
I run a school called Play Frontier. We're a nature play school, just like Kristen's Butterfly Hill. I think that term is perfect.
Yeah.
We play all day. We have an immersive play-based environment, and then we also get to hit the trail across the street in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, and we walk around with babies and toddlers and preschoolers.
And you bunch bike. They have these amazing electric bikes called bunch bikes that they're electric, and you ride them, and kids fit in this giant bucket.
Yeah, it's a 6-child bus bike is what they're called. So the teacher sits in the back and rides it, and then the kids are in the front. We're still in the licensing limbo. They haven't decided if it's a car or not yet.
So can you use them yet or not?
No, we can't use them until they approve. So we're just waiting for that. But I think that'll be soon. Because it's not a car.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Tiffany sent me a video the other night of her little one playing a really loud guitar, and said, "Oh my."
Just
what have I done? And what did you say? Best Facebook Marketplace purchase ever? ?
Yeah.
So I think we should bust the myth that children need to be quiet to learn or to play.
Yeah, that's a pain. That's not true.
No. Not at all. I think, well, okay, so I'm going to go back to like my traditional teaching days. And
Mhm.
I'm guilty. I was guilty of 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, marshmallow in your mouth, like fill your mouth with marshmallows so that you can't. I was just doing a
Grab a
marshmallow
bubble.
face there. You can't, so that you pretend your mouth is closed so you can't talk, or flickering the lights when it was too loud in the classroom. Or I actually had, when I did daycare for like 10 months, and that was like the hard, like in-home family childcare, and that was like the hardest 10 months of my life. But I did a inside voices, outside voices chart thing with the levels where you like show the kids what's a good level, but good according to who?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Good according to who?
right. But it's one of those things where it's such a thing that's been ingrained in us since when we were little, since like we grew up in school, that it's just an automatic, like, oh, you're too loud. And where did that even, like, it came from that industrialized school system. But like, how can we break up with that? Like, why can't they just like be loud and use their voices how they want to use their voices?
I don't know why it's such an issue for some people. I do think that there's a difference between just like being loud all the time and having a community of people in a room that you care for.
Yes.
So like if somebody's just like making ear splitting pew pew pews and everybody in the room is like
yes.
covering ears and just like, oh, stressed out and suddenly also no longer able to participate in what they're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like that is where the volume teaching point comes in. Like,
Exactly.
oh, you're hurting your ears. Let's play this game outside.
Exactly. Yes.
As opposed to just like blanket, like we need to use inside voices all the time because we're inside.
Right.
But I think that there's a lot of learning that at our program that goes around like when is the right time and place, because that's essentially what it is. If everybody's like playing a singing, yelling, loud game on the piano and they're all having a great time, then why would you stop that?
Right. Do you guys have a piano at your program?
Yeah.
And
it used to be inside, but it was way too loud. We also had to do a little like floor plan analysis of, okay, this takes up how much room in the floor plan and we could replace it with these 4 things. So then we rolled it outside and now it's like they all play with their feet and just yell.
Oh my god.
And nobody cares. It's delightful.
Okay, where is it in your outdoor space? I don't even remember seeing it out there when I was there last.
It's behind the boat.
Oh, oh, funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing that you have that outside.
Yeah.
Does it like, and I suppose it was probably a free piano to you from Facebook. Tiffany's the queen of Facebook Marketplace. She finds the coolest
I love it. I love weird things that aren't toys.
Tell us, okay, now we're getting off topic, but tell what your favorite Facebook find is from Marketplace.
I mean, the rocket ship's pretty high on the list.
Yes.
We have this giant. I mean, the giant doesn't even do it justice. It's a commercial grade beer doer, is I think what it's called.
Oh.
And it's like 6 feet tall by 4 feet wide metal ball with a hole cut
with
in
a hole in it.
That like usually there used to be a window in there that you would like see the color of the beer or whatever. I don't know what the window is for.
Oh my gosh.
But we don't have a window. We just climb in it and play rocket ship. And it's like the best thing to yell into. Yelling into that is experience. And it also just like really a giant bell that you, when you bang on it, it's just like a big giant 6-foot bell.
Yes. Okay, so this ties us back into the when is the right time and place. And so outside really should always be the right time and place, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
But
like,
there's also like yelling learning that happens outside too. Like if you shriek like you're injured all the time,
oh,
everyone around you is going to stop playing and say, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?"
yep.
And that gets annoying. So like what tone do you use to pretend to be hurt? Like all of that learning that happens that won't happen if you're just quiet all the time.
Right. So you actually have to make noise sometimes in order to learn what's too much noise for yourself and for the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have to make noise in order to communicate with other people so that you can
Mm-hmm.
learn those social skills that we all need to get along in this world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
I never want a kid to feel like they're too loud for other people. Like I'm too much,
Yeah.
So like how do you give them space and help them navigate that? Like you're a loud one. How do we do that in a way that other people enjoy? you
Right.
know?
Right. Okay. So here's a scenario. This is with older kids because, like, so one of my daughters is she processes life out loud. She is a verbal processor, and many people are. So am I. So is
Is
Tiffany.
why.
So we have to talk things through in order to solidify it in our brain or make sense of something. And
Mhm.
she has to do that all day long, 24/7, except for when she's sleeping. And even sometimes she talks in her sleep. But we still have to learn. She's 10. Like, she still is learning what tone of voice to use with certain things because her voice, so she either has like a, just like her normal like conversational tone,
Mhm.
or it will go to um I hate the world and everything in it, and I'm going to make your life a living what
Beep.
beep. Yes. Yes. So we try to give her the space at home to practice that, but there also comes a point where it's like we practice this all the time, girl. Like come on. This is
Yeah.
draining. And that's how it is. I feel like in the early childhood classroom too, that children who are, I think it's like up to age 7, you they can't process um they can't think words in their head. So they have to, I don't know if there's a term for that. They have to say all of the things out loud. And that's
Mhm.
why young children are like, I got a new hair bow, when it's maybe has nothing to do with anything because the thoughts that they can't think those thoughts in their head, and they maybe saw somebody with a hair bow. And so then they immediately, I have a new hair bow. So that's one of the big reasons why we need to let children have lots of time to talk, to communicate,
Yeah.
to chat with
Yeah.
each other, to play. I mean, really, to play.
Mhm.
And when
Mhm.
we have, when, if you're teaching in like more traditional program where it's, 15 minutes of reading centers and then 15 minutes of math centers and then snack time, like if it's so structured and regimented, there isn't a lot of time for organic conversation to happen. And the only way that we can learn how to have conversation is to actually have conversation. Right.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's also a lot of like as a teacher, what is your role for facilitating that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
And we get stuck in this like everyone else is auditory processing everything around us and somehow it's our responsibility to answer all of those questions.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
I that too. Somebody asks a question and it just like hangs out in the room. And I feel like there's not someone there to answer it, like, am I letting them down emotionally? Like, not like I know that that's not the answer, but like that's the knee jerk reaction. Somebody asks a question, you answer the question. But like, how often do you just need to like not say anything and let another child join that?
Right. Or even in grown-up life. Like,
Yeah.
why can't we leave people hanging when we're done and we don't want to answer any more questions?
Yeah.
That would be great.
I've tried to get much better at the,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's, yeah. Or I'm not sure. What do you
Have
think
you asked a
about
friend?
that? Yes.
Because I think that is where a lot of the like inside voices quiet stuff comes from. It doesn't come from other kids being, uncomfortable
Yeah.
from it being so loud. That we describe it sometimes as like, wow, it's so loud in here, the noise fills the room and there's no room to play anymore. What are we gonna do? But that's not where it's coming from. It's coming from like, my ears hurt. Kids, you're too much for me right now. I am sensory overload land.
Yes. Do you know what I
So
find? Oh, keep going.
I was just gonna say, how do we like flip that? Because teachers have needs too. You don't get to
Yes.
just ignore your needs because you're in their room. So how do you like reframe how you're looking at the sound level in a classroom? Are you just gonna like, whew, they're playing loud on the piano, I'm gonna hold on to my butts and just like make it through this 20 minutes because I'm gonna end? Or are you gonna say, hey, let's bring these drums outside? Like what, how are you gonna be the one to facilitate your own needs in a way that doesn't interrupt their needs?
Exactly. And that's part of being like a yes teacher, is finding a way to say yes to something. Because I mean, really, like if you go on the like 3, whatever you want to call them, rules, I don't know, what do we call those? It's okay if it's not hurting anyone, anything, or yourself.
Yeah.
If we go by that, like, okay, a pounding on a piano would not be comfortable for my ears, especially like in an indoor space where other people are really, concentrating on their play. That might be kind of overwhelming. And so, I think it's perfectly okay to say, oh, this is loud and maybe not quite the right time. Let's find a way to say yes to this. And maybe it's putting a keyboard outside, or we have a huge marimba outside. Like, let's go play the marimba. That's actually a really good instrument to have inside because it's nice and like muted quiet. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so on Minnesota's licensing rules, there is a rule that you have to have one musical instrument out in the classroom available for use at all times per child.
That's a licensing rule?
Yes. Yes. And so like we don't always have them out because that's like, it can get loud and overwhelming. But our
Chicken
licensing
environment child is
right. Our environment. Okay, so like if we had the musical instruments outside, that would not count on our licensing rules. Like it doesn't count if it's outside. They don't include outside as like a learning space. Outside's just like recess. I don't know. So we like every time before licensing comes, really quick, fast, pull a basket of 30 instruments together and shove them on the shelf because it can be loud. Okay. Do you allow a children? Okay, so like a lot of play-based programs don't have like an actual circle time. When you're inside and kids feel like doing the dinosaur song from Lori Berkner, do you say, hey, Alexa, play the dinosaur song, and then like play it loud so that anybody who wants to join in can? Like, how do you do that?
We have a morning transition circle time because our room's so small. We got to clean up for snack.
Yep.
And so part of that, like getting ready for food experience, is having all the kids in one place so that there's not more stuff coming out while we're trying to put it away.
Yep.
I always give them the option to watch and not sing. If you're not feeling it, sit over there. Ask Mackenzie if she wants help. but I also don't play songs. I always just sing them
Mm.
because that to me is more. If we're gonna do a group song, I never put it on to listen to. I always just sing it.
Oh, interesting.
More engaging.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll play songs in the background. So we like to have dance parties, and
Yes.
when we do have a good dance party, it's always like during playtime. They're feeling like, I don't know, they need some direction
Yeah.
for body movement. Let's like give them something to focus on instead of
Okay.
crashing each other or whatever. Although I'm not opposed to crashing, sometimes it's the vibe. We want to dance. Let's dance.
Exactly. That's what
And
we
there's always like a place. Yeah, there's always like, hey, if you want to come dance, come over on the carpet and we'll dance over here. That way there's also on the flip side of that space to not dance.
Yep.
Or like outside, it's easy because if you go too far away from the speaker, you can't really hear it anymore. So if you want to come dance, you come dance up by the speaker or whatever.
I was just going to ask you, do you take a speaker outside with you?
Oh yeah.
We do too.
I'm trying to cut back my music use at school because we're not supposed to do it for our early achievers ranking. You're not supposed to have music on as background because it's distracting, which I think is a load of BS.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I wonder
I
what
think there's
research they used for that.
Yeah, I don't know. Huh. But I do think, if you've got, what is it, Coco Melon?
Oh,
yeah. The stupid guy really likes the broccoli. Do you like broccoli? Do you like broccoli? Yes, I do. Your kids are too old to know about this land of YouTube.
They are
terrible.
Yep.
That is distracting because it's garbage music. But like, I'm gonna put on some nice classical Philip Glass station while we paint. And have it in the morning, and we're like feeling that vibe. Yeah, it adds to everything.
I totally agree. I also love a good like folk music with kids. I love reggae music because like it's just such a chill vibe.
Yeah. I have a playlist called Cultivating Joy, which is just like bangers. You can't be sad while you're listening to this. And some days there's just that like lugubriousness that catches on where like one kid has a hard drop off and then we all adopt those feelings. And then it's like, are we doing this all day? I understand feeling sad at a certain point. Are we doing this all day? Also, like, you're not feeling sad, you're adopting her sad. So like put on the playlist, get a little energy flowing.
Oh my gosh, that's really
be sad listening to anything from the Troll soundtrack.
Ooh, I love Trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Anything else you want to add about the developmentally appropriateness of making noise or
loud
or being loud?
We haven't talked about like making new sounds and how that's how you learn to speak, man.
Yeah.
Those like it's a lot easier to see when you have infants through preschool all together in one center.
Yep.
Oh, one little battery over here. Just because like you would totally be okay with a 1-year-old shrieking or banging a spoon against a pot.
Yes.
But if it's older child going through that same exact process, building the same exact patterns in their brain, somehow that's not okay.
You're right. It's so true. It would be shut down if they did that.
Yeah.
It's not considered like a developmentally appropriate behavior for a 3-year-old. So you would shut it down. But why would we shut it down if that's something that they're learning through?
Exactly. Especially because if you're going through that as a 3-year-old where you're not able to access that as a 1-year-old, or are you from like a very quiet house where you aren't allowed to raise your voice at all? And so now like you've been given that freedom, how are you going to exert that freedom?
Yeah. I've never really thought about it that way, but I don't have like, we don't have infants and toddlers in our program. So I probably would never have made that connection. I feel like just, the voice and the sounds, it's very much how like we're both free the glue type of people. It's like free the noise. You have to learn how to how to
Mhm.
use just enough by using too much to begin with, or too little in this case. Because if you're
Yeah.
whispering, somebody's maybe not going to hear you. Yeah.
I
So,
also love that moment outside where you're just like, like yelling for someone and they're totally deep in play. And it's like, you're going to have to walk over and get her attention somehow. This isn't working. And I'm like, that's also really important too.
it is.
You need it all.
Yeah, we learned.
Um, I know you're trying to wrap it up, but this segues nicely into tone policing. I
Okay.
know
Oh,
you're
tell
talking
me. Yeah,
a little
tell
bit,
me.
a little bit of your daughter, that there's a difference between how do we talk in a way other people can hear and tone policing, right? Like, I don't want to listen to you if you're going to talk to me XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Like, your tone isn't, use a different tone.
Yeah.
Like, to me, there's a difference between having feelings and expressing them through sounds and
Uh-huh.
emotion. Like, I'm expressing my emotions by yelling versus this is the tone I use all of the time to talk to other people, right? There's
Yeah.
like, I want to validate you when you're yelling and sad and upset and being really loud out of frustration. But I want to scaffold you if that is the tone you have learned to use to interact with other humans.
Hmm. So how would you scaffold that? Because now I'm going to use this with my daughter.
uh, it's hard. It's like that. If that's how the tone you've used as your neutral for so long, it's
Yeah.
really hard to change that. And should
Yeah.
we change? I don't know.
Um,
I do a lot of feedback with it of like, your voice sounds very upset right now. Are you feeling upset? And a lot of times the answer is no. Oh, I feel like you're yelling at me. Are
mhm.
you trying to yell at me? No. Oh, okay. Let's find
Yeah.
another volume to communicate at,
Okay. Or
or
another.
another way to say it.
Okay. I like that. I'll try that with her.
I don't know if
Like,
it'll work.
I don't know
I feel like
either.
that's one of those, like, how do you change the environment and not the child if they've fundamentally learned in an environment like their home environment that this is how we talk,
Well,
you
but
know?
right. But the funny thing is like in our home,
That's not your home environment.
no. So like it's been her tone that she uses. And it could be the byproduct of being the third born and also being a verbal processor and wanting to be heard. And she knows she gets more attention on her when that tone is used.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean it's all of that, but it's a really hard habit to break, that tone.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
is. Another phrase I've used is, it's hard for me to understand you or to help you. I can't hear past your emotions right now. I say it nicer than that.
Right.
But like, that's, like, how can you say that in a way, like, do you want to just feelings vomit on me? Because that's cool too. But if you want my help, we're gonna have to find a different way to discuss this.
Yeah. And I've used that on her.
Because
Like,
that's where, like, I get triggered, is where it's like, you're here for my help, but you're being a turd. Why are you even
yes.
asking me for help?
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Yes.
you actually want my
Right.
help? Like, oh, but why are we? You're mad at your pants, not me.
what sometimes happens, right? So my daughter will like she can't find anything to wear, and this happens like almost every day before school. And can you help me find something to wear? And so I will, if you can use a different voice to ask me that sounds a little kinder. And so then she'll say
Yeah.
it, but she still has this giant scowl on her face. And then we go into a room and I pull out 17 different outfits and every single one is, no, that one's ugly. Or no, that doesn't match good enough. Like and so finally it's just like, it doesn't seem like you really want my help. So I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, why is parenting so hard?
I don't know.
It's so much easier to teach.
It is. It really is.
It really is. It really is. Anything else you want to add? I have to go pick up said daughter from school.
This has been a really lovely discussion about sound. There's a lot of aspects to it. There's a lot of.
I know, and there's so much more too.
Voices, yeah.
I mean, because I think I was at your house, I don't know, a month ago, and 2 months ago already. No, a month ago. And your son was sitting at the table and you and I were just working on our laptops across from each other. He was sitting there eating breakfast and he was blowing bubbles in his milk with his lips. And it was just, you and I just sat there and like kind of watched him out of the corner of our eyes. We didn't say anything. And he's like, listen to this. And was totally experimenting with all of the different sounds that he can make with his lips, in the cup, out of the cup, in the milk, out of the milk. It was fascinating.
And it drives my husband. He's just like, stop that noise. What are you doing?
Oh my goodness. But he might end up being like a beatboxer someday because he got to blow bubbles in his milk with his lips.
Yeah. And maybe now he will be able to make an R sound enunciated. Right. Like that's what all of that is just like building mouth muscles.
Exactly. Yeah. Speech. It's all connected. So we need to let them talk. We need to let them make sounds. We need to let them be loud, and we need to let them be soft, and we need to let them say all the things and not say anything if they don't want to, and support them. Right.
And you should totally buy your 4-year-old a miniature electric guitar. I think it's a great choice for all 4-year-olds.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. Okay.
We love you.
Well, Tiffany.
Well, Kristen.
It's been fun.
And we'll see you next time on
Q&A with
PK.
That's been so long since we've said that.
Oh, it's been so long.
I love you. Thank you for doing this episode with me.
Thank you for inviting me to join you.
Hey, I need you to do me a huge, 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 huge favor. If you liked listening and you want to be able to hear more, can you please go onto iTunes and leave me a 5-star review? I would so appreciate it. And then connect with me on Instagram. It's learning.wild. We'll see you around.